Esau's true character, revealed by Ginzberg. Esau arrived after a delay of 4 hours. In spite of all the efforts he had put forth, he had not succeeded in catching any game, and he was compelled to kill a dog and prepare its flesh for his father's meal. 100 All this had made Esau ill-humored, and when he bade his father partake of the meal, the invitation sounded harsh. "Let my father arise," he said, "and eat of his son's venison." Jacob had spoken differently. He had said, "Arise, I pray thee, sit and eat of my venison." The words of Esau terrified Isaac greatly. His fright exceeded that which he had felt when his father was about to offer him as a sacrifice, and he cried out, "Who then is he that hath been the mediator between me and the Lord, to make the blessing reach Jacob?" Words meant to imply that he suspected Rebekah of having instigated Jacob's act. Isaac's alarm was caused by his seeing hell at the feet of Esau. Scarcely had he entered the house when the walls thereof began to get hot on account of the nearness of hell, which he brought along with him. Isaac could not but exclaim, "Who will be burnt down yonder, I or my son Jacob?" And the Lord answered him, "Neither thou nor Jacob, but the hunter." Isaac told Esau that the meat set before him by Jacob had marvelous qualities. Any savor that one desired it possessed. It was even endowed with the taste of the food that God will grant the pious in the world to come. "I know not," he said, "what the meat was, but I had only to wish for bread, and it tasted like bread or fish or locusts or flesh of animals. In short, it had the taste of any dainty one could wish for." When Esau heard the word flesh, he began to weep, and he said, "To me Jacob gave no more than a dish of lentils, and in payment for it he took my birthright. What must he have taken from thee for flesh of animals?" Hitherto Isaac had been in great anguish on account of the thought that he had committed a wrong in giving his blessing to his younger son instead of the firstborn, to whom it belonged by law and custom. But when he heard that Jacob had acquired the birthright from Esau, he said, "I gave my blessing to the right one." In his dismay, Isaac had had the intention of cursing Jacob for having wrested the blessing from him through cunning. God prevented him from carrying out his plan. He reminded him that he would but curse himself, seeing that his blessing contained the words, "Cursed be every one that curseth thee." But Isaac was not willing to acknowledge his blessing valid as applied to Jacob, until he was informed that his second son was the possessor of the birthright. Only then did he say, "Yea, he shall be blessed." Whereat Esau cried with an exceeding great and bitter cry. By way of punishment for having been the cause of such distress, a descendant of Jacob, Mordecai, was also made to cry with a loud and bitter cry, and his grief was brought forth by the Amalekite Haman, the descendant of Esau. At the words of Isaac, "Thy brother came with wisdom and hath taken away thy blessing," Esau spat out in vexation and said, "He took away my birthright and I kept silence, and now that he takes away my blessing should I also keep silence? 101 Is not he rightly named Jacob, for he hath supplanted me these 2 times. 102. Isaac continued to speak to Esau, "Behold, I have made him thy lord, he is thy king, and do what thou wilt, thy blessings will still belong to him. All his brethren have I given to him for slaves, and what slaves possess belongs to their owner. There is nothing for it, thou must be content that thou wilt receive thy bread baked from thy master." The Lord took it ill of Isaac that he cheered him with such kind words. "To mine enemy," he reproached him, "thou sayest, What shall I do for thee, my son?" Isaac replied, "Oh, that he might find grace with thee. God, he is a recreant. Isaac, doth he not act righteously when he honors his parents? God, in the land of uprightness will he deal wrongfully, he will stretch his hand forth in days to come against the temple. Isaac, then let him enjoy much good in this world, that he may not behold the abiding place of the Lord in the world to come." When it became plain to Esau that he could not induce his father to annul the blessing bestowed upon Jacob, he tried to force a blessing for himself by an underhand trick. He said, "Hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father, else it will be said thou hast but one blessing to bestow. Suppose both Jacob and I had been righteous men, had not then thy God had 2 blessings, one for each?" The Lord himself made reply, "Silence! Jacob will bless the 12 tribes, and each blessing will be different from every other." But Isaac felt great pity for his older son, and he wanted to bless him, but the Shekinah forsook him, and he could not carry out what he purposed. Thereupon Esau began to weep. He shed 3 tears, one ran from his right eye, the second from his left eye, and the third remained hanging from his eyelash. God said, "This villain cries for his very life, and should I let him depart empty-handed?" And then he bade Isaac bless his older son. 104. The blessing of Isaac ran thus, "Behold, of the fat of the earth shall be thy dwelling, by which he meant greater Greece in Italy, and of the dew of heaven from above, referring to Bet Gubrin. And by thy sword shalt thou live, and thou shalt serve thy brother. But when he casts off the yoke of the Lord, then shalt thou shake his yoke from off thy neck, and thou wilt be his master. 105. The blessing which Isaac gave to his older son was bound to no condition whatsoever. Whether he deserved them or not, Esau was to enjoy the goods of this world. Jacob's blessing, however, depended upon his pious deeds. Through them, he would have a just claim upon earthly prosperity. Isaac thought, Jacob is a righteous man, he will not murmur against God, though it should come to pass that suffering be inflicted upon him in spite of his upright life. But that reprobate Esau, if he should do a good deed, or pray to God and not be heard, he would say, As I pray to the idols for naught, so it is in vain to pray to God. For this reason did Isaac bestow an unconditional blessing upon Esau. 106.